Hello, have you ever wondered what it's like for a single guy to date and to be in a relationship right now in this day and time? Hey, we have an interview with a handsome guy named William right here, and he's here to talk about that and much more here on Couples Pursuit. Hello, my name is Vincent
I'm Valerie Woodard.
Woodard, and we are so honored to be joined with our special guest, William. How you doing, sir?
Doing great yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Wonderful.
On this episode of Couples Pursuit, we want to introduce you to Will Bailey.
Will Bailey, aka handsome guy named William. Will Bailey is the creator and host of Black Love Renaissance podcast, where he's elevating the narrative, restoring the feeling, and taking an all-inclusive, unbiased look into Black love, one relationship at a time. Wow, that sounds really great. If you're interested in that podcast, I'll go ahead and drop some information about Will. You can reach him on Instagram at handsome.guy.name.william.
That's right. So my bro, we got to get into the name first of all. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, the name, and what you do, and who you are.
Well, as you heard, I'm a handsome guy named William, but I like to add on to my introduction because I use a lot of AKAs. So it's a handsome guy named William, AKA Brad Hampton, AKA Billy Saturday, AKA Lucky Liam.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's how I used to introduce myself. Sorry.
That is funny. It was like, okay, who's that?
Right. Which one are we talking to today?
Right.
That's
No,
wonderful.
you're getting handsome today, so.
We're getting handsome today. Okay,
yeah, I'm on my best behavior.
Well, I've got a couple of questions for you. I want to know what prompted you to want to create and host Black Love Renaissance podcast. What motivated that?
Okay, so I get asked this a lot. So do you want the edited for time version, or do you want like the full scope version?
Just give it to us.
Yeah, just give it to us.
All right, so it literally started off with me and two other people I grew up with. We sat down and talked about starting a podcast. So we got together, and I was in charge of all the technical stuff. So I had to buy the equipment, cameras, everything. So I sat down and did all that. We actually got together and did one episode, recorded it, never came out. Shortly after that,
Practice.
because it was only one defined role, which was mine, and I was like, all right, somebody needs to be the host, somebody needs to plan out the stuff, somebody needs to set the times. I'm like, look, I'm bugged by getting all this technical stuff together because I had no experience in it whatsoever. I had to figure out the microphones, lighting, the cameras, everything, microphones, everything. So we got to arguing, and we just said, you know what? It's over. And now I'm stuck with all this equipment. So I'm like, all right, well, let me figure out what to do with it.
Wow.
So I just really looked at the landscape, because at this time I was real big into listening to podcasts. I probably listened to every bit of 30 podcasts a week at this time.
Wow.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. There's an antenna on my truck. I took my antenna off my truck when I went to Washington one time. I didn't put it back up there because I don't listen to radio. I listen to podcasts so much.
Right. Yeah, so with me listening to so many podcasts, I started noticing out of the 30, every bit of 20 were the same. It was just different voices and people look different. So I figured, let me look at the landscape in the totality and figure out what can I do different. And I didn't see anything about Black couples.
Wow.
And to add on to that, another driving factor was I have two daughters, and their mother is in a relationship. They just had a kid. They live together. And I'm like, dang, that's a real healthy relationship over there. And I can't show my kids that. So it was like, now I can go out and grab it and put it in front of them. And now I can venture the whole world and have so many different perspectives to give to them. Wow. But at the same token, I'm learning so much. So it was like win-win.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So when did you start the podcast?
The idea started in the middle of 2019. I did my first interview in November of 2019, but I didn't release anything until June 2020.
Okay.
Wow. That is awesome. I am so interested in just your whole take on no matter just that whole story that you just walked us down of being now you're single, and because you weren't married to your daughter's mother, right? We
was engaged, but that was the furthest it got.
Okay, so just being in that relationship, and then now you're single, and you have two daughters.
Mm-hmm. Two, correct.
You have two daughters, but you're still interested in relationships. Like, are you interested in being in one, or you're just interested in just learning more about them? Like,
both.
What's your take on it now?
I'm both. I'm very interested. I'm kind of lonely now.
Ladies,
I realize I like to do relationship stuff.
AKA looking, right?
Yeah, looking.
That's another one right there. Add that to the
looking for love.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that is awesome.
So marriage is on the horizon, not just dating. You're interested in marriage?
Definitely. I'm dating with intentions to marry.
Oh, I love that.
That is awesome.
Tell us what that means for some people who may not know what that concept is, because there's a difference. What's the difference?
The difference is it's having a seriousness into the engaging in the situation. It's not like, oh, hey, we can just go out to eat and that be it. It's like, no, I'm really want to dive into who you are, and I'm opening up certain parts to me that I just normally wouldn't do. So it's like, can we really grow together? Because I don't believe in falling in love. I believe you got to grow in love. You got to treat it like a plant.
Wow.
Anytime you fall, it's an accident. So if you look at it that way.
But you don't mind me asking. Just you don't want to tell me your age. You put it in the ranges of 20 to 30, your 30 to 40, your age range.
Oh no, I'm a fresh 39. The goal is to age. As a black man in America, the goal is to age. I'm 39. I wear it proudly.
Right. Listen, you either get older or you get dead. I choose to get older.
Right.
We don't get to pick when we come into this world. Why be ashamed of it? You know? Yeah.
That is awesome right now. So, with the couples that you interview, like, what's some of your biggest takeaways? It's from yourself with personal revelations that you might have received, and then also like just the couples that you've interviewed and just had interactions with. Like, what have you learned? What have you said? I like that. What have you like? Man, throw that away. We don't. I'm not going to do that. Like, what have you learned just by talking and being around and interviewing couples?
So, like I said, my whole take on the word love itself, I've gained that just from listening to the couples. Like, I didn't see anywhere where they fell in love. It was like y'all literally grew in love, and it's like that's what you do to plants. You know, you gotta pot it, you gotta water it, you gotta talk to it. It's like, oh,
it's intentional, right?
Right, it's intentional. Right. So
yeah,
that's like the major thing I took away from it. And my third episode, Javon and his wife. I can't think of his wife's name. I'm sorry if you see this. I don't remember your name. I'm sorry. But she, my last question at that time, the very last question is, what does love mean to you? And she said, it's work. It's something you have to do every day.
That's right.
And that just stuck with me. It just stuck with me. And then in my mind, I just kind of did a deep dive on it, and I was like, yeah, that's right. It's work, because like I told you yesterday in the pre-production, love doesn't count when everything's going good.
That's true.
It's literally you're not in love when everything is good.
Yeah.
When everything goes
you get
wrong,
mad at me,
that's
like,
when love works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, well, not favorite, but one thing that I told my husband when we were dating is, you know, it's all nice when you're pleased with me, but the true test of your love for me is when you're not pleased with me. Like, you want to check out the level of respect, the level of attention, your tone and inflection. All those things will tell me if you really love me or you just along for the ride, for the joy ride, you know, because sometimes we people say they fall in love because they get lost in their emotion. They get lost in that what they're getting from the person, not what they're growing with the person, if you would. So if he's doing everything to make me happy, sure. You know, we just met and you whining, dining, spending time, giving gifts. You know, I have all of your attention. That's great. But when it comes to the tough things, if you're not willing to stick through that, then maybe it's not love. Yeah. Yeah.
That is deep right there. I want to know, so as a single guy, and just, I'm really just going in your mind. I haven't been single since, man.
1997.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm happily married. You know, I love my wife. She is my reward every morning. I love my wife. But I'm just interested because I have 2 daughters that are single, and I'm just interested in the culture now. Like, as far as a single guy, what are you looking for? You know, just for the people that will watch this live or in the replay, like, what is something that you check on your box, if you do have a box that you check, and what is something you like a deal breaker? It's like, nah, I don't know. And maybe not necessarily just for you, but just other single guys that you might have. I've seen some of your other videos, like some of the other single guys that you kind of interact with. Like, what are some of the things that, as a community, y'all might be like, yeah, she has this, that's cool, but if she has that, scratching through that.
Well, for me, I mean, I'm a simple person. I live life very simply. I mean, you know, some people see like my background and think, oh, he's high maintenance, or he likes, you know, a lot of things. Like, nah, I'm really simple.
Sneaker king.
Yeah. I ain't the king. Yeah, I'm getting there. But I'm real simple. I just need someone who's kind, respectful, that seeks to understand, and is loving. Like, anything opposite of that, I really don't. Oh, I need someone that's intelligent too. I can't. Can't do lower educated people. But yeah, that's all I look for. Like, that's all I really want. I'm simple.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And so, if a woman comes and she meets those check marks, right? And then she might have, you know, a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. Stop me when you 4 kids, 5. You know, just.
I have a rule for that. I have a rule, but keep going. I'll let you finish the question.
Yes, what's the deal breaker?
Yeah, like what?
Does it depend on the circumstance? You know, she's married for 10 years, her husband passed away, she has these 3 children, or she's just like, you know, clubbing, living life, doing whatever, and is just kind of collecting babies along the way. Those are 2 separate circumstances for some people. It's still one woman with 3 children. You know, and that's a big deal. We both had a child when we met each other. We had been in a previous marriage, and you have to consider all those things because you really do intertwine. Like you know, you say you have 2 girls, and you're watching mom move on, and that gentleman has an influence on your daughter's lives every day, and that's a big deal.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm a simple man.
Oh yeah. Like I said, like guys, when. Like, if a woman was watching this right now, which they probably are, they're watching this right now, and you know, it's like, well, I'm single, but it's hard to find a good man. You know, you kind of hear that, you know, a lot. It's like it's hard to find a good man. So, I know you're simple, but what do you think? Like, guys are like saying, well, the reason why it's hard to find a good man is because of fill in the blank. Like, give me your take on that right there.
All right, let me go back to your first question because I ain't answered it.
First.
But I'm a simple man. If all of us can't fit in one car, deal breaker. I'm a simple person. I'm just saying.
Right.
I don't plan on buying a minivan ever in life.
That's simplified enough.
That's it. Hey,
I like that.
I'm just a little flexible.
But if we can't all get in here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little flexible because my oldest is 21, so she has her own car, she does her own thing.
Right.
So it gives room for, you know, maybe she come with 2. That's my ceiling right there.
That's reasonable.
I got it. Yep, that's good.
All right, so we go to the second question. I hate speaking for women.
No, I'm just saying, like, advice.
What's your point of view? Like what do guys say? Let's say locker room, right? What are guys saying? You know what? I really want to be in a relationship, but this thing I can't deal with. You know, and these things are deal breakers for me.
Yeah.
So not necessarily what a woman would say, but what is it that Handsome William would say? You know what? I can't deal. I know you said intelligence is a thing, but what other things have you heard amongst the podcast or just talking with people that are issues for guys who really want to date for marriage in this day and time?
This generation, the men are trash. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Men are trash. But I mean, I was gonna speak from both. I'm objective enough to say from both sides. But
okay.
Yeah.
I think nowadays communication is a lost art. And then the ones that can communicate, they still don't understand nuance. So it's just, our communication is just terrible right now. Like, people really don't say what they want and mean what they say. And I think for a lot of women, from what I've experienced and I've heard and I've seen, they're too hard on their standards. And I know that sounds crazy, but they're just too hard. There's no flexibility in there. Sometimes the person you want, you have them, but you ain't giving them a chance to become the person that they can be. Because they don't check them boxes instantly, you out of there. And it's like, let them grow into it. And it was funny because quick story, me and a guy, we was talking about it, and he likened it to a screenwriter writing a script or a screenplay. He said people sit back and then write this story out, and they have all their characters, and then they start doing auditions, but they don't let the people come in and put their interpretation on the character. If they don't sound like the character they created in your head, then you don't get the role.
Right.
And it's like, I was like, wow, it like blew my mind.
You see, that's what I was going for. That's what I was going for. But I think my wife, she kind of reframed the question.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I was going for, because I know, I mean, sometimes we talk to women, men, just in general, couples, sometimes singles, and they're like, well, I can't, just frustrated about the whole relationship thing. But this like inner dialogue that we don't get a part. We're not in the locker room. We're not there. It's amazing to hear the take on that, and I appreciate you sharing that. I like the movie cast thing. That's all.
Yeah, that's a good. That is a good way to make it come alive. Because, say for instance, there's an actor. I've heard the story, a half a dozen times. An actor or actress who's gone in for a part, and they have to come back 4, 5, 6 times because this person has an idea in their head of what they want, and they don't realize I am the person that you want. You just don't know it. But if you don't give me that opportunity to be myself in your presence, along with my skills, my personality, let me put my personality to it, then you're never going to find that out. And I think what I observe now, I was born in 1970, right? Like, not in the 70s, in 1970, right? And I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm 51 and I'm proud of that. Thank you, baby. But what I have noticed in my time is that a lot of what I see is paper and plastic. And what I mean by that is it's all the stuff. Everything is so superficial, and I know it's not everyone, but what you see daily is like my lashes, my lace front, I think to myself, when these gentlemen get these women as a wife, now I haven't always been natural, so I'm not being a hair snob. I'm a former hairstylist, so I know about all of the different phases and what we can do, and we're very versatile people. But when you get home, when the woman gets home and looks in the mirror, and you got to take off that wig, and you have to take off those lashes, and you pull off all that makeup and all that contouring that makes you look like a different person. It's like, how do you think that makes the man in your life feel? Like, how does he observe all of that? Now, some men might like all the flash, but I want you to be some semblance of who you are when you wake up in the morning and who I see on the street. What do you think about that when it comes to dating?
Me personally, I like to meet people where they are in life, regardless of what it is. I tell women when I meet them, just be yourself. I don't care who it is. I gotta like you for you. Don't be trying to, acquiesce to the things I like. Like, no, if you don't like it, tell me. we can find something together. But yeah, just be who you are. If you are glitz and glam, then it's a choice I have to make. I don't want you to change. I want you to be who you are.
Right.
I mean, of course, change comes with growth, but I don't think it comes drastically like that. Like some people put on so much makeup that they look different when they take it off.
And I want to be clear about something. I'm not wearing any today, but I don't have any. I don't have issues with makeup. My daughters are both really skilled at doing makeup. One is an artist and one is a makeup artist as a hobby. And what I am talking about is the excess, because what I find in talking to women and dealing with women sometimes, especially when I was doing hair, is that the person who is wearing all of that stuff is covering up something inside, and that thing will show up in that relationship. It's like, what are you compensating for? What are you overcompensating for? What are you hiding? And not hiding in the sense that they're trying to be someone else, but more in the sense that they're not sure of who they are. And so when that person shows up, I believe that's when you have issue. You can have issue. So it is the excess and not not just the appearance of makeup. Or there's nothing wrong with wearing a wig if that's what you want to do. We have many choices, so I'm not judging that. But to have the excess, it really says something to me. It's like the guy who has rings on every finger.
Right.
It's like, dude. You seen that guy? He gotta, you gotta have all of it, and it's like, what are you really saying? Right. Is that I'm not secure in I'm not enough for myself.
Right.
How can you be that for someone else?
Is the eyelashes is like the day and age now, the big eyelashes and the contour makeup? I'm just trying to get a sense of people that you know. Is that attractive to you? Kind of, sort of?
No, not at all. I mean, the little small eyelashes is cool. Yeah. It's accentuating. I like that,
Right. Little enhancement is good.
Yeah. If you just touching up here and there, little things. Part of creativity.
Yeah.
But if you can blow me back with your eyelashes because they so big, I can't do it. I'm not that big of a guy, so
Oh wow, my goodness. Will, see, this is what, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you so much. Look, I want to get into the Black Love Renaissance, your show, your podcast. And look, in the description we read, it says elevating the narrative, restoring the feeling. Can you expound upon that?
I mean, the narrative is that Black love is trash. It doesn't exist. It's very rare. Like, no, we it's here. It's just I've noticed that a lot of people like to keep their relationship private, and I understand that. I mean, it doesn't do good for my podcast, but I respect it. But the world needs to see it and know it because, I mean, I'm a little younger than y'all, but we predominantly grew up on the same TV shows. And back in the day, you could turn the TV on to see a black family thriving on TV. Like 1 or 2 TV shows. So we're not even in control of the narrative anymore. I mean, I grew up on the Cosbys. Family Matters. Like, I saw black families and black love on TV at least once a week, back to back. We don't have that anymore. Like, we got Blackish. I don't even know if it still come on.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
And I slept on Blackish when it first came on, but I started watching it later on. But yeah, you're right. It's either a show like with predominantly black cast, like Queen Sugar and Blackish and I can't remember. Greenleaf, whatever. And that's really it. You might have one black character that's with another black character, maybe, and that's in a show. So you're right. We need more. If we can't go through the mainstream of TV and the network, we need more shows like yours and shows, more podcasts, more Facebook Live videos, more YouTube videos. Depicting us, because we love each other and we exist. And there's also, I think you stated this earlier. There's a number. We know the 50% not death rate, Lord have mercy, 50% divorce rate.
Death of love rate
in America, but that rate is actually higher in the African American community. I think it's somewhere between almost up to 60%. And you're right. It's like a lot of us kind of want to keep our relationships, close to the vest, close to the cuff. Don't really want to let a lot of people in, and they shouldn't let a lot of people in. But there are also shows like yours, some shows like ours, that we're actually trying to give people advice. And I'm not judging them, because 15 years ago, that was me. I was like, no, I don't need other people in my relationship. I don't need a couples therapist. I don't need anybody like that. So I'm not talking about them. I'm just saying, with your show, where do you see it growing in the future, the Black Love Renaissance? So what's your big 50,000 foot view of the show, of the podcast? Or just whatever else you have. You might be holding something close. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. So, the podcast is actually the starting point, because I just did it to do it. I mean, I hate to sound arrogant or cocky or anything, but I just did it to do it. It was just one of the moments where I'm the type of person, I think about something, I'm like, I could do that. I'm going to go do it. And I just go off and do it. So for a long time, it was just, I just want to interview couples. And then I hooked up with a podcast collective. It's a whole bunch of podcasts that we all hang out, called the Black Podcast Club. And just hanging around them, and they talking about their ideas. And I'm like, oh, I can do more than a podcast. So now I'm thinking a couple TV shows, like a couple clothing lines that got the whole Black Love thing. So,
wow.
But for me, just strictly for the podcast, I mean, I want it to be like a full-fledged YouTube channel, everything, and I want to be able to travel to where the couples are versus doing this. Doing this is cool. But it's a different feeling when you sit in the room and you see them together, and they may be holding hands, and you can see it
and all that.
You can see the energy between the two, like, versus just hearing it. Sometimes you need the optics with it. So that's really what I see. Like, I just want to get to the point where I can just go to a city for a month and interview couples and shoot a TV show that deals with the couples also. Like, I got some ideas. Like, so
that's awesome.
That's really what I want to do.
Well, I want to say this before we part, and I don't know how many more questions you have. I mean, we're free and we can edit, but I want to say thank you, for being 39 and caring enough to say, even if it was on a whim, what is a concern of yours is that my children see and know what it is to have a healthy relationship from me, not just from other sources, but they hear or see what daddy thinks about that. Because the truth is, more oftentimes than not, a woman will marry her father or who her father wasn't. Right? This guy, who is the opposite of him, or this guy who is him, to the betterment or the detriment of their own life. And what they see is really, really important. That connection between a daughter and her father is unexplainable. I grew up with a father in my house, but he wasn't my father. He was my uncle. My uncle and my aunt raised me, and I've known them and called them mom and dad to this date. And I love them and honor them and cherish them and respect them. But I never stopped wanting the relationship with my dad. Now, I've known my dad all my life, but I never had the day-to-day with him, right? I would see him on holidays and every now and then, and every interaction was positive, but it was different. You know what I mean? And even at this age, there are still times that I say, wow, I don't know my father as well as I would like to. I might know what he likes, or, his favorite drink or food or something like that. But there's something different about spending that time and catching those nuggets that you can't catch when you're not present,
right.
So what you're doing is leaving a legacy of intelligence, about love and relationships for your children. And one of the things that my husband and I, with Couples Pursuit, one of the things we were able to do is to kind of mend some of the wounds that we created with the dysfunction in our relationship in the first several years of it, because it affected our children. But we also had to realize that we needed to draw back and heal the wounds within ourselves so that we could become this couple now who can help others to realize that love is possible, that you do grow into love. You don't just fall into love. It's intentional. You date on purpose. We call it courtship. You know, you court one another. And because courting is responsible, it's intentional. You have to be accountable, and it doesn't always include physical intimacy. You find out who you want to be and how you want to be before you become one, you know, and those things are important. And so when a dad says to his daughter, whatever, he says, it's different than when a mom says to her daughter, whatever. She says, so fathers matter. I want to encourage you and I want to applaud you for doing what you're doing, because you're making a difference.
Amen.
Beautiful
Amen.
thing.
For real.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
For real.
Beautiful.
Appreciate
For real. And look, man, we got to have you back. That's when the interview is good, when you run out of time and you still have things to talk about. So, look, I want to let you close this out and just what I know we talked about a lot of things in our pre-talk before. We're just gonna go over. We might not have time today, but what's the thing that you want to share, leave with our audience on this episode right here that we can take away and just kind of be like, well, that grow into love. I'm already doing that. I'm already like, I like that. I'm gonna write that, baby, write that down. But close it out.
We'll share and give you credit.
Give us a nugget to think on.
All right. So I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna leave with this. Communication. It's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing. And I say that because communication is either going to be your foundation or your wrecking ball.
That's it.
And I got a quick story about it. So
yeah, please.
I was courting a young lady and we were talking, and I think at the time, maybe like a month before we started talking, her grandmother passed. So we started having conversations about grandmothers, and I was like, yeah, I miss my grandmother. And so she asked me, like, what was your grandmother like? And I was like, and I just froze, and I just thought about my grandmother, and I like literally just froze, and I'm just thinking about it. And I was like, can I tell you something? And she's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, I just found out I have a transferable skill that I never thought about. So all my life, I've never heard my grandmother speak. Her voice box was removed because of cancer. So they caught it early and they just removed it, and she lived. So all my life, up until I was at least, I think she passed away when I was 19-ish. So for 19 years, I communicated with someone without the traditional sense, without talking. Like, I mean, it was to the point, like when I was younger, she would have to write down on a piece of paper what she wanted to say to me. But as I got older, I started catching cues from her where she didn't need to write down as much. And then after a while, she would mouth stuff and I would know exactly what she was saying. I sometimes I didn't even have to look. I would just hear, because she made a noise, and I would hear the words coming out. Because she could still like speak, but it wouldn't be words. But you can still hear the intentions of her forcing it out. And I was like, I had this skill in me of knowing how to non-verbally communicate that I just never tapped into. And as I'm talking to her, I'm realizing she taught me a lot of things. She taught me every card game I know how to play except for spades. Now think about somebody teach you how to play cards without talking to you.
I know, right?
So I have that in me, and I was like, I need to tap into that. And now I've been paying attention that I'm communicating a little different now. Like I'm able to get things out straight to the point without it being blunt and harsh and frank. And I'm like, that's a transferable skill. I mean, they teach you about that at work. Like, oh, what did you do in your last job that you can transfer to here? That's a skill that I have that I never thought about. So, you got to look at communication as, that's the main part of it. It's you relaying information to a whole nother person that you want to be in your life. So you need to be clear and concise about that.
That is awesome. We had a video talking about the 5 types of communication, and you did a lot of that growing up. Like you said, you did a nonverbal communication. That's a form of communication. You did the listening, You know, that was a form of communication. The body language, that's another form of communication. And of course, talking, the verbal, and was it physical?
The other two were written and then like electronic communication or visual communication.
Yeah, so
so probably visual too, if you drew pictures or did notes or anything like that. But it's like the person who has, she wasn't deaf, but her voice box was gone. The person who's blind, the lack or the diminishing of one sense enhances another. And so in that, she gifted you with an ability to be able to communicate on a different level. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. We need to communicate and also grow into love and stay connected with one another. I took that away. You didn't say that, but I took that away when you said how you grew, how your grandmother kind of trained you at a young age to learn how to communicate with all your senses, because you're able to respond and also take in information, even though words might not have been said. So man, I like my wife said, I applaud you. I appreciate you so much, and my goodness, I can't wait to have more conversations with you, man. I think I found a new friend. Where are you at again?
Baltimore.
You said that yesterday.
Yeah, I could tell he was from Baltimore.
You could tell he was from
Maryland. Yeah. It's something right here from Maryland, from Baltimore. We say Baltimore, they say Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we say it with a D. We pronounce it with a D.
Well, I appreciate you so much. Hey, if you want to reach out to a handsome guy named William, please visit him on Instagram. Check it out. And also, just drop us a message here, see the comments. Do you have any more questions for him? I'm pretty sure I can relay them back to him. Yeah. And we're going to have him back on the show. So whatever questions that you might have that I know we didn't get to a lot tonight, but whatever questions that you might have, please leave a comment below and I'll write it down. I'll make sure I ask them next time that we're on the show. So Will, appreciate you so much for dropping by. Hey, look, man, I can't wait to keep hanging out with you. I know you said you was coming down this way sometime soon, so that's going to be awesome to be able to see you in person and connect with you that way. And your show, how can they get your show? Is that also on your Instagram? Your podcast?
Yeah, you can link it from my Instagram. It's link in the bio, but it's on all streaming platforms except for Anchor, because I don't like Anchor.
You don't like Anchor?
I don't like Anchor, but it's everywhere else: Google, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else but Anchor.
But Anchor, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So thank you again for hanging out with us at Couples in Pursuit, and we appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
and I appreciate y'all for inviting me.
Yeah, see you later.
Until next time. Bye.
See you later, Will. Bye. All right, Will, I think we stopped there. I mean, I appreciate you so much. I think it stopped. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. No, it's
okay, all right. Yeah, it's still. Look, that was, man, my goodness, great job, yo. I appreciate you, man.
Listen, let me apologize because I thought we were going a little bit longer. I may have talked a little bit too much and asked too many questions, but I wanted to say, that I wanted to make sure that I said I applauded you because young men, like you said, some of our young men are trash, and I've seen it. We have a 22-year-old, we have a 31-year-old, and our son is married. But I've seen some of the options that they have, and it's not always great. Both my girls have said to me, well, they're women, but they've said to me, guys don't date you anymore. They just expect to, hook up and hang out, and you skip the whole phase. You skip all that, the time, the intimacy, that you build with relationship and hanging out and getting to know one another by just doing this and popping up or pulling up, like they say. Let's just hang out. So it's important, that someone of your age is doing something to, change the narrative. So
yeah, I'm trying. I mean, and it's crazy because the women are actually accustomed to it. Like when I try to court certain women,
they're not used to it.
Yeah, they're not used to it. They're like, yo, want to come over? I'm like, I just met you 2 days ago. Like, I mean, yeah, I want to come over, but no, I don't want to come over.
Yeah, I'm coming over. I wanted to eventually, but dang, now you're making me wonder.
Right, and it's so crazy because women are getting so accustomed to bad treatment that when I come along, they're shocked by me. Like I literally had
it's like something weird about him.
Right. I had a woman get mad because I wasn't like groping on her and touching her the whole time. And I'm like, I just met you. Like you literally want me to be just like bear hugging you and grabbing on your butt and all. I'm like, I just met you.
They want some
like,
love and hip hop.
Right. But that's how they feel validated, because that's what men come with. And I'm like, that's not me, and I'm not about to change that. So you're just gonna be mad at me. I've literally had a woman grab me and hug me, and I'm just sitting there and they like, oh, so you're just not gonna grab my butt? I'm like, ma'am, like,
are you asking me to roast you, ma'am?
I'm like, well, one thing about me, I don't like to be touched. So if you know me, if you really know me, you know that. And so I love the touch of a woman, but it takes a minute for me to warm up to it.
Wow.
So, it took a lot for me just to hug her. And I don't really know her. And then when she asked me, so you're just not gonna grab my butt? I'm like, no.
Boundaries.
I want to, trust me. But I'm not gonna do that. That's not, I wouldn't want somebody doing that to my daughter, because now I gotta come. Now I gotta come holler at you, homeboy. Like,
right.
Yeah, I got a coworker of mine that has a friend like that. He doesn't like to be touched. And I thought it was one of the weirdest things. I didn't know that was a thing, really.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know the lady at your job that used to like to touch you.
Well, they were interested in one another. I was not interested in her. I was not.
This is an older white lady. She's like, oh, Vincent. Ma'am, keep your hands to yourself. Some people, you know what, on a serious note, though, people don't understand. This is one of the things we're sharing we're putting together a guide for effective communication, right? And one of the things that people misunderstand is that we shouldn't buy into the stereotypes of men and women. People are generally the same, biologically, physiologically, anatomy, all of that. Yes, we get what the differences are. However, we have the same emotions, right? How we express them might be different, but some of the ways we express them are only different because of how society pressures us. Like a man who says, I don't want to be groped. It's like they're going to call, oh, you gay, or you weak, or, whatever. And it's like, I don't want to be touched. As a woman who doesn't want to be touched, that's one thing. But men go through things that cause them to feel that way as well. And we should respect that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, it's not common because, sometimes the expectation for you to be the dog, some men feel like they have to live up to that. Even if they don't necessarily want that, they assimilate to it because that's what's expected of them.
Right.
And we just need to grow up.
Yeah, I mean, I had a young lady ask me, was I asexual? And I'm like, hold up, the only thing I know about asexual is frogs. So I know frogs can change their gender to keep their species alive. So I'm like, what do you mean asexual?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to know. Oh, she said asexual meant that you just don't want to have sex. And I'm like, I never heard that before. I'm like, no, man, that's not me. But I still have to warm up to you.
We just met Tuesday, right?
Right. I'm like,
it's Thursday.
Like, can I warm up to you, please?
Yeah.
I really might not like you. I don't know yet.
Right. This is that conversation. That's why I knew that we're gonna have more to talk about, more to share, because these are those conversations I want to talk about, because our audience needs to hear them, and I think it needs to be said. It needs to be shared, and just have these dialogue, these conversations right here. We talk with a lot of therapists and a lot of people that work in the couples therapy field, and then we also talk a lot about marriages and healthy marriages. But our whole realm that we cover is from courtship to covenant, meaning we said the vows, say I do, to commitment, which is the 10, the 20, the 30 years later. Like we're still in it. We're still ride or fly. I'm not going anywhere. That's that commitment part. And so we want to cover all those bases, And so that's why I want to stay connected with you.
Yeah. Yeah, this was fun. I like this. I haven't done this in a while.
It was great.
Yeah.
I've actually been on break, so.
Man, but it's good. Hey, look, I'm pulling you out, man. That's what we do. We pull
So when are you coming to this area?
You said,
I'm shooting for the end of next month, beginning of May.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying not to hit May because I got some things to do in May, and it's like all this stuff is just gotta spend money. Like you just wake up and just like spend some money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting for the end of April. But,
okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's March, right? We still in March.
Yeah.
We still
all these
in
days just go together. So I'm shooting for the end of April. So
Can't believe it's almost April already. It's the 24th.
Yeah.
Like I said, I probably I shoot you an email. I'm pretty sure this is going to air Tuesday.
Okay.
But I shoot you an email and let you know when. And like I said, just man, whenever we get back together, just remember this topic where we talked about in your notes that you wanted to, some more things that you wanted to say. So keep those notes, but also this little after party dialogue that we just did. That was good. That was good.
That could have been part of the show.
Yeah, that could have been part of the show.
I mean, you're still recording. You can cut it in there. I mean, you're still recording. You can cut it in there.
Yeah, I know. I think I stopped.
He ended it.
I think I stopped the recording.
Yeah, he ended the recording.
Oh, it say recording on my end, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It is?
They said on my end we still recording.
It's always still recording.
Oh, well, good. So
we gonna see.
We can chop it up.
Yeah. Since you're still recording, let me say this. I forgot to say it earlier.
Okay.
I want to write a book. I forgot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, what's the book going to be about?
I don't know the direction yet, but I figure, after I interview so many couples, I'm going to have so much data to put out there. Like, I can do something with it. So, I'm on like 12, 15 couples now. I figure around like 50.
Yeah.
It should be book time. I'm just,
Right.
That's what's up, man. What I've learned is to keep notes on everything you do. Like every show that we do, I keep notes. And then I compile them together. Like the guy my wife was telling you about, I'll do research, but I go to my notes. I say, hey, we talked about this. Let me learn some more about that. Oh, we talked about this. Let me learn some more about that. Mm-hmm. And next thing I know, man, we got a guide together, but it's almost a book. If I add our more personal stories in there, it would be a book. I mean, just that simple. So just keep good notes of all your interviews and your podcasts, and that'd be awesome. Yeah. And that also gives, what I've learned, it gives us instant credibility. Like you're a published author. It's just something about that
people like
magical.
Yeah, every interview I do, I'm sitting there taking notes. I tell people in the beginning, like, look, if you see me keep looking down and doing something, that's me literally writing what you're saying down. Yeah. Just because I like this so much, I need to write it down. Just like earlier, you say, my wife is my reward every morning. I wrote that down. Like, I'm taking that. That is mine now.
Okay, you take that. I'll take growing love. I like, okay, all right, we keep passing that along.
Yeah. So like when I get a wife, I'm going to tell her, hey, you're my reward every morning.
Mm-hmm. That's good, man. That is good.
Like, I'm going to be the ultimate husband. I'm just telling you right now. I hate to sound cocky or arrogant.
When she comes, she going to get it, huh?
Yeah. I am armed to the teeth.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
My husband's too good. I'm like,
listen.
Feel my butt.
You're so silly. I told you our son is married, right?
Yeah.
So, when I met his wife, his girlfriend, we knew she was the one, right? And, I kind of maybe treated her like a dad would treat a guy coming to date his daughter. I wasn't ugly to her, but it was like, listen, I've been praying for my son that when he meets his wife, that he has one wife, he has one set of children, and that he wakes up in the home with them every day. That's my prayer because of what I've seen in the Black community. And I just want to transfer that prayer to you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I just got to ask you, can you please pray for me?
Yeah. Because you have a desire. Mm-hmm. You have a desire to be a husband. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't work out the first time. I heard you say you were engaged before. And, that's deep. You get to that point and then it breaks off. That's heartbreaking, especially when you have children. So I just want to speak this over your life. Lord, I thank you for Will tonight. For William, a handsome guy named William. Mm-hmm. I thank you, God, that he is fearfully and wonderfully made. Mm-hmm. I thank you for the gifts that you've imparted into him. I thank you for the wisdom and knowledge that he receives from you and that he shares with others. I thank you for the desire of his heart to change the face of what it looks like to be a Black man in love. I thank you, God, that you bless his children. Mm-hmm. And Lord, I ask that you bless his ex and that household, that they grow and they prosper. But Lord, also that you send him the wife that you have designed for him. Not talking about a soulmate, but someone that he can grow with, Lord. A suitable helpmeet, God, that would respect him and honor him and lift him up. And Lord, someone that he can pour all this love that he's holding into. Someone that can help him grow his dreams and plans, and someone that he can get alongside and help her, Lord, with the calling that you have over her life. Lord, I thank you that you allowed us to meet tonight, for he and I to meet tonight, God. I don't think it's for no reason at all. God, I just thank you that you do things so perfectly well. And I know that you knew Will before he was formed in his mother's womb. And you have plans to prosper him and not to harm him. You will be with him always, Lord. Even into the end of the age, you'll be with him. And Lord, we just thank you for that you never leave us and you never forsake us. And God, thank you for growing him into the man that you have called him to be. Bless his home, bless his finances, bless his business, bless the book, bless the podcast. All of these things we ask in the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amen.
Oh, no problem.
You trying to make me over here and start crying. Huh?
The little tear drop right there.
Listen, now we believe in love and we believe in prayer too. So.
No tears. You want to see my tears?
You need to take that.
Peter, stop laughing. Okay, let me stop.
That old Eddie Murphy.
Okay. We good?
Yeah, we good. Have a great night. I look forward to seeing you in May, if we're able to do that, and talking to you again.
Yeah, same here. Thank you. I appreciate it. And y'all enjoy your evening.
All right.
You
Take
too,
care. God bless.
All right, now. Peace.
Bye.